Let's reflect on the 2 years into President Tinubu's term, what is known as the midterm. As we look into what he's been doing for the last 2 years, how would you assess his midterm?
Well, Charles, I always don't want to be involved in assessing this present government, because I've always remained consistent that he is doing well. Because what he promised the people is exactly what he's doing. That he will start and continue from where the previous government stopped. And that is doing well, Charles. You can go and use every measure. I've said it in this studio before. Somebody who made dollar at 300 and something, 400, is now 1,005. Charles is done fantastic. Same in fuel, same in everything, same in unemployment, everywhere, in terms of democracy, in terms of everything, is on the sliding side. And that is doing well, because that's what he promised. Charles, when you talk about improvement, there are not things you say. There are things people feel. There are things people see. There are things that, it's just like when you talk about, I've listened to people say jobs are being created. Where are the jobs? If you talk about job creation anywhere in the world, you see the figures. If you talk about improvement in education, you will see it. Improvement in health, improvement in this. If you say the government is now doing the right thing, the democratic, the this, you will see it. So where is it? So we can see it. It's not a question of going to say, oh, investors are coming back. Where are the investors? Where are they investing? Companies are closing down. They're leaving. Local companies, manufacturing is going south. So where is it? Just the Nigerians are not saying it. I am one politician that moves around in Nigeria, and I know the feeling of the people.
But what about prices in the market? I mean, there have been some, maybe not enormous reductions, but there have been some significant reductions, even in fuel, for example, petrol prices. I mean,
where did we start?
They fluctuated
Charles,
a little, but they've come down.
Charles, where did we start? We started at about 200 to over 1,000, and now it's slightly below 1,000. You have to look at where we started. You didn't just say, oh, it's coming down. No, where did we start? What has changed? Consider the income of the average Nigerian. Those who are fortunate to have a job. I believe that reforms take time for people to start seeing the gains of it.
Well, that's what their argument is.
But people have to see a clear roadmap that what they are sacrificing for, let's take fuel subsidy, which they say there's huge savings. Where is the savings being challenged? If you are making a savings, you said, I want to save this money to be able to invest where? You have to invest in critical areas of development. And those critical areas of development are education, health, and pulling people out of poverty. Are we investing in it? Just no.
Well, they would argue that they're investing in education. They're providing funds and loans for students, which has never happened in this country before, to allow them to be able to go to school.
This country has universal basic education. And we have over 20 million children out of school. That is the critical area. It is the basic education that is the critical area. We're not doing anything in it. Just today, I visited an IDP camp. There's over 40,000 people in IDP camps around Abuja. I'm not talking outside Abuja. The one I visited is in Abuja. With over 4,000, they don't have a primary health care.
4,000 or 40,000?
They're over 4,000.
Right.
40,000 around Abuja. But 4,000 in this particular facility.
Right, okay.
They don't have a primary health care. They don't have a primary school. They used to have a primary school, which was there by UNICEF. It's closed down for the past 3 years. The kids are there. There's no primary school. There's no health care. So, if you don't have that in Abuja, where do you have it? Where? And this is the one you said is free. Free and compulsory. So where are you investing the money?
So your conclusion then is that there isn't a clear plan and a trajectory, that it's kind of all over the place.
That is convincing. Because you have said, I'm removing this, you have to sacrifice, you have to suffer. Where are you investing it? It has to be clear. It has to be verifiable. It has to be visible. People have to see it. They have to feel it. I just told you that I went to an IDP camp where we have thousands of people, no primary health care. They were begging me to have one nurse, which I said I must make sure I bring. They don't even have primary school, which again I told them I will make sure it happens. So what are you doing for a country that just spent 21 billion naira to renovate the house for the vice president, which is not hasn't packed in, is not living there, and you cannot even have a primary school for kids who are going to be leaders of Nigeria tomorrow? For people who pass through the same process, to deny these kids this opportunity today.
You have suggested that President Tinubu's political decisions and counter decisions are both a cause for concern and a potential threat to Nigeria's democracy. Broadly, tell us more.
Well, I've said it and I maintain, Charles, there's no democracy in Nigeria today. Nigeria today is not a democratic country. Let's stop telling ourselves lies. If you look at all the tenets, look at all the yardstick of measuring democracy, it doesn't exist here. Simple definition: democracy is government of the people, by the people, for the people. Today, the government we have is not of the people. It's not by the people because the people didn't vote. It wasn't their votes. I'm not just talking about presidency. Across the line, look at what happened in Edo. Can you call that democracy? You can't have a democracy without a functional and effective legislature, which we don't have today. You can't have a democracy without, again, an independent judiciary that fights for the common person. I can go on and on.
But they would argue, the president's aides, that Nigeria may be a faltering democracy, but nevertheless it is a democracy. And one of the hallmarks for assessing that democracy is freedom of speech, and the fact that you can sit here and criticize the government and be quite, forceful in your criticism, forthright, that is a manifestation of at least a measure of democracy.
Just I can tell you that even me is being harassed every day. There's no freedom of speech. And you know that yourself, Charles. And I can tell you, and there's so many people who are being detained in one place or the other because they've made one statement or anything.
Well, I haven't been harassed, to be fair. But
yes, maybe you've not been, but I've been.
Well, that's unfortunate. Well, all this talk about democracy and the rule of law leads me inevitably to Rivers State. I'm sure you've been seeing the rising political temperature there over the past few months, which has heightened with considerable tension. But was it enough for a state of emergency to be declared?
Capital no. You cannot, Charles, take the action that have been taken in Rivers State for what happened. There's a clear path to dealing with that issue. Rivers State for the past 2 years have become ungovernable for obvious political reasons and interests